What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your man Chaz Ellis once again answering the questions that you asked me. Make sure you check me out on the chazzellisproject.com if you want to get a consultation or quick question, or for some of you who constantly ask me about how do I get the live streams that have already happened and I missed them. This is how you do it. You go to the chazzellisproject.com, go to the archive spot, and that's where you get the old live streams. Also, check me out on askchazzellis on Facebook because I post quotes and stuff. You can check that out and get on there too. Anyway, one of the questions that I get all the time is, what is it with all these deadbeat dads? What is it with all these dudes that don't take care of their kids? Why do they do that? Why don't they care? Why don't they care about the children and stuff like that? So, one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of guys who actually are deadbeat dads come from deadbeat dads, come from homes where they didn't have a father. And one of the things that I think has something big to do with that is just the fact that that guy never really got to explain how he ended up being the way he is. Because most of the dudes that I know who came from a situation where they didn't have a dad and are now deadbeats themselves are people who said all the time when we were young, look, I'm not going to be like my father. I'm not going to treat my kids like this, yada, yada, yada. And now they're doing the exact same thing. And I would reckon that they made a lot of the same mistakes because I've seen, a lot of people make these same mistakes that caused them to be in that situation. So what I decided to do was for a lot of these young guys out here who don't have fathers, don't have anybody to give them some of this information, I decided to give you guys 5 ways that you actually become a deadbeat dad. So these could be some of the things that you might avoid so you don't make some of the same mistakes your dad might have made and don't end up in the same situation. I know it's easy to just be like, oh, he's a coward, he's a little boy, and we don't really try to figure the situation out. And that's why it keeps growing and getting worse, right? Clearly that doesn't help and that hasn't changed anything. So I'm going to try to do something, make a little bit of an impact. Okay. Number one way to become a deadbeat dad is bad timing. Bad timing for you, bad timing for the mother. A lot of times guys will get a girl pregnant and they'll just be in a situation where they don't necessarily have the funds. They might be in a relationship with somebody else. They might be in a situation where they're transient in terms of not having a good place to stay. Because if you're staying with your mom and dad, you really are homeless. So a lot of times they don't have that going on. They don't have the situation correct. So when they have a kid, even though they might have the best of intentions, they still can't afford to take care of that child. They can't afford to do things for that child they need to. They don't have the time. Maybe they don't have the ability, the mental ability to invest. They're not mature enough. Things of that nature. A lot of guys end up being deadbeat dads really just because of the fact that they're not in a position where they can really do for their kid the way they want to. They're not in a position where they can really take care of them when they have the baby. And you have to understand, if you're financially hurting when you have a baby, it's not like when a woman has a baby, and generally if she doesn't have the money, people do step in. Some ladies will get mad at me for saying some of the stuff. Some ladies are going to get mad at me about what I'm talking about on this video. Some dudes will too. But this is the way I'm seeing it. This is the way I'm just trying to help you out. Anyway, when you're a guy and you don't have money, you have a baby, you're not going to get welfare. You're not going to get people coming along trying to help you out, giving you housing and stuff like that. You're going to struggle. So having a baby at the wrong time often leads a guy to be a deadbeat because they just get so far behind in terms of child support and stuff like that they're not in a position where they can really do for their kid. And, sometimes they do run into a baby mama who just has a bad attitude, doesn't want them to see their kid. And if you don't have money, you're not going to be in a position where you can really fight that because you don't have money. So bad timing is a big one. Number 2 way to become a deadbeat dad is bad sacrifices. I've actually seen this from a few different guys that I personally know where they got somebody pregnant and they made a really bad decision because they were trying to quote unquote be a real man. I had the other quote up. I don't know if you saw that. It doesn't matter. They were trying to be a real man. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you're trying to be a real man and do certain things, make certain sacrifices that you think are cool, they kind of hamstring you in the future. So a lot of guys make some sacrifices. Like I knew a guy who dropped out of school and stuff like that, trying to take care of a baby. Things didn't really work out for him. unfortunately, what often happens is somebody will tell you to do something like, you need to drop out of school to help take care of your child. This is your seed. You need to get a real job like a real man. And you drop out in the 10th grade or something like that. And now you have a job situation that's unstable, not making you a lot of money, and you lose that job. And now you can't take care of your kid, and they're still charging you the same child support. Or baby mama starts tripping and not letting you see your kid. You don't have the money to get a lawyer, because you never know when this is going to happen, or when things may change in your relationship with her. Y'all break up, or she may just get a new dude, or whatever the case may be. She may start tripping, and you don't have the financial wherewithal to fight that situation because you haven't been building yourself up. You've been making these sacrifices that have actually handicapped you, so you can't really take care of your child in the best way possible. So don't make those kinds of sacrifices that you already know aren't going to have a good outcome in the long run. Dropping out of school generally doesn't have a good outcome. If you're trying to do a business or something like that, and you're sacrificing that so you can be, big time great dad to your kids, it sounds good, and people will probably, cheer for you when you do it. But 5-10 years later, you might be in a situation where now you don't even have the ability to see your children. And that's kind of because of the sacrifices and the bad decisions that you made. So be careful with that kind of thought process. Think about what you're doing, and think about the long-term impact on your life first, and then everyone else's. Because just like they say on the plane, when they drop those masks down, they say, make sure you put your mask on first before you start trying to save someone else. That's because you can't save somebody until you're safe. You can't jump in a pool and save somebody from drowning when you can't swim. You'll just both drown. All right. Number 3 way you become a deadbeat dad is making side deals. This is a big one for a lot of guys because they just really don't want to get involved in the court system. They don't want to, be, I guess, I ain't trying to get the man in my business and all this kind of stuff. And that sounds cool and everything, but unfortunately, when baby mama gets a new dude, or you get a new girl, or whatever the case may be, often those side deals fall apart and you're left owing a bunch of back child support. And unfortunately, when you owe that kind of child support, you get kind of put in a bad situation where, now you can't really see your kid because you're in jail. That's pretty hard to see your kid from jail. Or you can't really see your kid because you just don't have the money to. You're paying all that back child support, trying to do things to get yourself back together, and it's difficult because you made a side deal. Also, when you're making side deals in terms of how you see the children, that can be difficult too, because it leaves you with something you can't really enforce. And a lot of guys will just not even take the time out to enforce rules that are already on the books. A lot of guys feel like the court system doesn't really work for them, but what I've noticed, because I've actually worked in a jail, worked in the police department, which you guys already knew. Some of y'all have been watching the videos. And what I've noticed from the court system is that a lot of women actually do use the court process to their advantage. And a lot of guys who have judgments that say you can see your kids at this time, that time, or whatever, a lot of them don't pursue the judgments, and they really just complain. They feel like, oh, well, I know that the system doesn't care about me. I know I'm going to lose when I go to court. And they've been programmed and brainwashed to believe that so much that they don't even try to do anything to make their baby mama live up to what the court has told her to do. Because the key is, when you can show the court that the baby mama is not listening to them, then there's going to be a totally different situation in terms of how the court deals with her. They might let her screw you over, but no judge, none, will let you not listen to them. They're just not going to do that. That's just not how judges think. And I've been around plenty of them, so I know that is not how they think. That when the baby mama is going against the judge, eventually everyone acquiesces to the system, or they have their kids taken away. So you just got to make sure that you keep using the system in the same way she is, and not trying to do this side deal thing where you I got to be nice to baby mama and work this out, because that may not work. Number four way that guys become deadbeat dads is just trying to please everyone. First of all, you start out by having too many baby mamas in the first place. If you got 4 or 5 baby mamas, it's going to be very difficult for you to arrange a situation where you're going to be able to spend time with all of your children on a consistent basis, because the chances of all your baby mamas being cool at the same time are pretty low. So you have to set up a situation where you're saying, basically these 2 or 3 baby mamas are being cool at this time. I'm going to spend time with these kids. And I'm going to do as much as I can for these kids, rather than traveling around the world trying to get around some kids that the baby mama won't let you be around. Now, I know some people are like, oh, man, that's messed up. You just going to forget about your other kids because the baby mama is messing over them and yada, yada, yada. Look, you can tell, people will tell you to chase baby mama around so you can be around all of your kids. Well, first of all, you decide to have as many kids as you did by as many different people, so that's the situation. But also, they can tell you to do that, but they can't tell you how to logistically do it. They can sit here and say, this is what you should do, but they can't tell you how to do that because really it's not even possible. You're not going to, if you got one baby mama who's tripping, or even 2 of them, you're not going to be in a situation where you can actually see all of your kids equally. It's just not going to happen. If you got 5 baby mamas, it's probably not going to happen anyway. So what you have to do is you have to say which moms are being cool, and I'm going to spend more time with those kids. I'm going to do more for those kids. I'm going to be around those kids more. Not because you're showing a favoritism, but because logistically that's just the way things are working out. And if you don't treat those kids that way, if you don't spend the time with those kids, take your time and put your energy into them, what you're going to do is cause those other baby mamas to be pissed off. And then guess what? Now you got all the baby mamas mad, and they're all keeping you away from your kids, and they're all angry at you. If you treat those other kids a little bit, you spend more time with them, you do a little more for them, what almost always happens is baby mama was treating you that way to get attention. And since she's not getting attention for that, she's going to usually start coming into the fold and treating you a lot better and bringing the kids around more. Just because she's not getting the attention. You know, it's just not working. And number 5, some people get mad at this one, but it is what it is. Picking the wrong woman. A lot of people pick the wrong doggone woman to have a kid by, and when you do that, you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to constantly be dealing with a bunch of crap. I know people always say, it doesn't matter what kind of woman she is. A man has no business not seeing his children. No excuses. Generally, when there's a legitimate injustice and someone says no excuses, it's because they don't want to do anything about the legitimate injustice. It's kind of like with racism, sexism, all those isms. People generally go, oh, well, there's no excuse not to have this. There's no excuse for that to happen. And it's generally saying, yeah, I acknowledge the fact that the system is messed up, but I just don't want to do anything about it. So if you pick the wrong woman to have a child by, a lot of times you're going to run into problems where she's going to be vindictive, she's going to be disrespectful, she's not going to care. And a lot of times picking the right woman is really just all about picking somebody with things going for them, that is going to be happy with or without you, has a future and other options, and is just smart enough to actually care about the future of their child. If you're dealing with somebody that's not like that, the chances of them being vindictive and keeping the child from you are pretty much 100%. So hopefully I was able to help you out. Some of y'all put some of y'all baby mama stories and things y'all have dealt with, some suggestions you got for young men. Also, put that in the comment box below. I know some people are going to be hating and mad too. Put that in there if that's what you want to do also. Anyway, it's your man, Chaz Ellis. Go to the ChazZellisProject.com. Get that consultation. Also get those live streams. And make sure you check me out at Ask Chaz Ellis on Facebook. Oh yeah, like and subscribe and share this video with somebody else. Peace.